This episode is brought to you today by TSE Hustlers League. TSE Hustlers League is an online group coaching program designed to help sellers of all levels. Whether you're brand new to sales or you've been selling for a long time, but find yourself in a rut, you want to be able to improve, want to close more deals, you have to check out the program. Perhaps you're a part of an organization that just doesn't have the proper training and you want to get to the next level. Check out TSE Hustlers League. To find more information, simply go to thesalesevangelist.com/hustlers. Again, thesalesevangelist.com/hustlers. It would be an absolute honor to have you join us. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we're going to talk to Mr. Dan Fantasia, who is the CEO and founder behind Treeline Inc. Today, we're going to talk about selling characteristics and how they align with our sales environment. So we're going to give some ideas about how this can help you recruit and hire the right salespeople, the characteristics you should be looking for, and more so particularly about your sales environment and how we can make sure those are all copacetic. How can we make sure they all work together? Dan has some great insights. He's going to talk to us about some of the things that he's doing internally right now that's helping him to be so successful. But before we dive into that, let me tell you a little bit more about Dan and about the organization in a whole. So Dan started this organization back in 2001, Treeline Inc., and the whole focus that Dan had was just this simple. How can we help companies build world-class, high-output sales teams? You and I both know right now that the recruiting process, the way that we go about finding sales reps or the way that we go about finding jobs, that tend to be a little broken, right? Dan decided to share his methodologies, his best practices, and these things right now are revolutionizing the industry. So dude is very passionate about innovation altogether, and he's going to give us some great insights today that can help you with your business, help you with recruiting and finding the best talent, but also helping your sales teams as a whole. So I won't take up much more time. Let's go ahead and dive straight into the episode. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Thanks for having me, Donald.
I am stoked to have you, and I know you're going to give us some great insights today as we discuss and chat about some of these topics about selling characteristics and how they align with our sales environment. But before we dive into all the fun stuff, Dan, I want you to tell us about you and some of the cool and what you exactly do. You do a lot of cool stuff, so tell us about you, man.
Yeah, my name is Dan Fantasia. I'm the CEO and founder of Treeline Incorporated. Treeline has been around for 17 years now. Since our inception, we've had an exclusive focus on the recruitment of sales professionals. That's all we do. We've built a huge community of sales individuals that like to stay in touch and be part of our community and are always looking to be educated on what types of opportunities are out there in the marketplace today to further their career, both professionally as well as financially. Additionally, we help many thousands of companies across the United States hire best-in-class, high-output sales organizations so they can increase revenue, build their organizations, and grow, especially in these great economic times.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, there's some great times going on right now, and organizations are growing, and you guys are probably seeing that, again, that huge demand more than ever for, getting great talent. But that's what I want to talk a little more about today, about, sales talent, specifically around selling characteristics and how they align with our sales environment. There's so many different selling characteristics that a seller may have and so forth. But I would like to learn from you, from your experience working with organizations, what are some of the top characteristics that sales managers or sales leaders or even sellers should have in order for them to be a part of a successful organization? We can go into how they can, mesh with our environment. But what are some of the top characteristics fresh off the top that you know about?
Yeah, are you talking about just some basic intangibles or aligning, your selling environment with the characteristics of the sales individuals that you're meeting with?
The individuals you're meeting with.
Yeah, all right. So, so we've been doing this again for 17 years. We've got a wonderful track record. Over the past 5 years, we've only experienced, 5% turnover. That is of the hundreds of sales candidates and individuals that we've helped find new opportunities for, only 5% of them turn over the past 5 years. And we attribute a lot of that success to our process, but more importantly, our ability to listen and understand to the selling characteristics of every one of our sales candidates so that we can help them align their characteristics with the selling environments that we represent, those other companies, of course. And so there are a lot of different, sales personalities and characteristics that we look for. And, I'm sure we'll talk about a lot of them, but a few right off the bat are around, just net new business and existing business. Are individuals hunters or farmers? Because if you're a hunter and you're looking to be in a farmer type organization or an account manager role, typically the skill set and the characteristics don't align. And vice versa, if you're an account manager, but you're expected to make 100 cold calls a day or to bang on doors, to be in the field, what have you, you might find that you sold yourself on this great opportunity, but 6 months later you quit because you don't enjoy the job or you can't keep up with the activity metrics to be successful. So there are many different characteristics that we like to assess so we can understand where an individual will fit best and where they can sustain a long-term career.
Yeah, and I like that idea there too, where it enables it enables the seller to truly understand. I feel that any relationship, any contract, any agreement, both sides have to come to that full understanding. And sometimes, especially when I've gone into roles, it was like, you get one picture painted to you on Friday and then you come back in Monday to go do the job and it's not exactly what you thought of. It's being able to, that disconnect, right? And in some cases, it's just being totally untruth. The organizations were just trying to get the warm body in there and figure if they get you in there, just like any other sales, crappy sales person, they just want to get you to say yes and get you in, but then it leads to bad relationship. But the great sellers or great organizations, they make sure you can, mesh and mend those things properly, right?
That's right. Yeah, I think so. If you're a selling professional and you're considering different opportunities or environments, or you're trying to identify, why you're not finding success in your current environment or why you're incredibly successful, I think the first place to look is just at the selling environment. So many times, for example, we'll talk to companies that are looking to hire.
Yeah.
And they might have a highly transactional environment. And so in order to be successful in that environment, they understand what their key performance indicators are and what their activity metrics are to be successful. Now, a sales professional that walks in the door into this company may sell on their own abilities and maybe oversell, but they may be selling themselves to the wrong type of selling environment. So in other words, let's say that they're more of a strategic individual, which means that, maybe their average sales size is $500,000 or $250,000 to $1 million, and their sales cycle is 6 to 9 months. Their quota is $3 million. And they walk into this great company and they say, oh, this is a perfect job for me. I like all the people. This is a company for me. But they don't ask all the right questions. So in other words, they don't ask to find out, well, what's the average deal size? And if they were, they would find that the average deal size maybe is $5,000 to $20,000 with an average sales cycle of a 1-call close to a 30-day close. And the quota is going to be $750,000 for the year. The challenge here is that for that strategic sales professional, they're going to articulate well, they're going to present well, they're going to sell the company and why they're the perfect fit. The downside for both the company and the individual is that their selling characteristics are different. So when they get into the role and they're required to make 100 calls per day or whatever the activity metrics are, and they realize that after 6 months they quit or they're fired, it's not because they're not a talented salesperson. It's because they picked the wrong opportunity. They're consultative in nature. They're used to a consultative sale, a big deal size where they can strategize and present and articulate a value proposition. They're not as used to. So maybe that takes, 3 cold calls a day. They're not used to the 100 cold calls they're going to need to be successful in this new environment. And so as a result, although they think they went to the right place and although the company thinks they hired the right person, because they share all the personality traits, the selling characteristics are actually different. And so that person realizes quickly that this is not the environment for me. I don't enjoy this. This is not someplace that I'm going to be successful. And so they end up leaving or quitting, or vice versa. The company fires them because they just can't handle the activity load in order to be successful.
Well, you bring up a very good point with those type of characteristics now, that they're the kind of like the hunter-gatherer, cold calling, call center type of things compared to more consultative type. I would love to learn, what do you guys do internally? You've been very successful I would love to see what are some of the things that makes you successful. What are your characteristics?
Yeah, the characteristics of me personally, or the characteristics of the people that we hire?
The people you hire, the company philosophy, and your selling characteristics.
Yeah, okay, very good. So sales, the whole selling environment has changed so dramatically. Since I've been selling until, when I first started selling until now, we've seen a lot change quite dramatically. And so as a result, there are a few things that are important to us. One is definitely resilience. And when I talk about resilience, it's not necessarily resilience around making 200 cold calls a day, because our selling environment, it doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah.
It used to, but it doesn't anymore. Our resilience is more of a emotional resilience, right? It's not the ability not to burn out. It's actually the ability to emotionally disconnect from an opportunity so that you're more realistic as you're working through the deal. You're less attached, and you can be more logical as you consult and as you work through different opportunities. So resilience is definitely something very important to us. Second is urgency. Especially in this economy, in this market, if you are not moving with urgency, if you don't have the assumption that another competitor is trying to win the business from you, then you'll lose it. You're just not moving fast enough. And so urgency is critical for us. Third is focus. In this day and age, these selling environments, there's so much distraction. There's emails, there's everything. And as a result, what we want our team focused on is what's real and what's not. What is, in the golden hours of selling, in the 9 to 5 of your job, you should be focused on, driving revenue and nothing else.
Yeah. I think about that idea, that when I was doing sales full time for other organizations, I remember some of those reps I'll tell you a story, and I've shared this before in the past. This dude I'm just going to call him Sam. But Sam, the way that he worked was he came in and he was hitting like 150 calls a day, Dan, 150. And we're like, no freaking way. What the world is he doing? When we came to realize it later on, and Sam didn't stay long, because what Sam was doing was just like, the fake numbers, right? It was like these vanity numbers where he was just pushing speed dialing and not really leaving a message, just hanging up, and not doing anything to build value, not trying to have conversations. So he looked like he was doing great, but it didn't provide results compared to the rest of us. We're doing some meaningful conversations, having about those 50 activities because we're having conversations, and you're calling and you're voicemailing. You're doing some emails, you're doing those things, and we're seeing a better result. And I think sometimes people, especially in organizations, companies, they look at numbers like that. They look at those vanity numbers, and it doesn't necessarily equate to success. It's unfortunate because it's an older mentality, like you're saying, because people have evolved. The way that we sell, the way that we buy have truly evolved. And most of us don't even like getting stuff like that, but we still yet do it. Why? Why is that, man? Is it just because it's easier to push a seller in a room and tell them to make dials? I'd love to get your thoughts.
I don't know. Some of our clients are not going to like to hear this, but we just don't. When I first started the company, that's all I did. I cold called. I cold called all day long. I started the company. I was by myself. I had my own little bullpen, and every day I showed up to work in a suit and tie, and I just went at it. That's it. That's the only way I could do it. I didn't have a big budget. I just had to make it happen. I had to be successful. If I were to do that same thing today, I would fail. And I would fail because no one picks up the phone. I shouldn't say that. Very few people pick up the phone. Very few people pick up the phone. And so that's such a common challenge for most of our clients. You'll find companies today ask for someone that knows is a social salesperson. They're more creative, right? So they're using a lot of different social tools to connect and get through to a buyer. And they engage. And once they engage, then they can have a decent conversation. But to just pick up the phone and call a number, expect someone to pick up the phone and buy, it does happen. But it's not a great use of time. I hate to say it. It just is not nearly as effective. Our team's not doing that. We're not cold calling millions of people. Now, we have other strategies that work much more effectively, but we're just not directly picking up the phone and dialing just to talk, call into a phone directory, try to find the right name, call the name, the person. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a voicemail. Probably not even 9.9 times out of 10, you're going to get a voicemail.
So, because it's just, again, it's more of like it's not strategic. You don't have a process.
Right.
And that just kind of leads to annoyance. And no one likes to be annoyed, no matter who you are. And I found one of my friends posted the other day on social media. It's like, when somebody does that to you, are you, if you were to hang up, one of your sales rep, if they were to go out and do one of those calls and, somebody hangs up on them and we were to call you as the manager, what would your reaction be? The manager probably wouldn't pick up the phone either. So why would you want your seller to continue going down that same avenue? It's just not working.
Right. A person called the other day. He called 3 times to the office, and I couldn't pick up the call anytime. And each time he was somewhat rude to the individuals that they talked to. And of course, I got the message that the person called. And in every instance, it was that he's rude. He would never leave me a message. And so just the absence of professionalism or just common knowledge to think about how you would react to that type of phone call, needs to be, thought of, before you just keep hammering down the door. And the older technique is do it again, call again, keep banging down the door until you get him live, until you close him. But it doesn't work. It may work occasionally, but it doesn't work very effectively, at least not in today's day and age.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, Dan is going to continue to share with you some insights, some ideas that can help you with your sales environment and making sure that the characteristics that you have as an organization all mesh together to perform to your success. You're listening to the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. Our new semester of TSE Hustlers League begins on January 25th. It would be an honor to have you join us. This semester, we're focusing primarily on business development. So often we find that sales professionals, entrepreneurs, they dread the idea of picking up the phone or doing outreach or finding business, or perhaps they have some ways of getting business, but it just feels like there's must be a better option out there, must be better methodologies to find prospects. Well, if you join TSE Hustlers League this semester, you'll learn those practices and those ideas. It would be an absolute honor to have you join us. To learn more, go to thesalesevangelist.com/hustlers. Again, thesalesevangelist.com/hustlers. You are going to love it. As we get ready to dive into the second half of this episode, Dan is going to continue to outline and share with you some of these thoughts and insights and things that's helping him and his organization. So get your Evernotes, pens, and paper ready, and let's go ahead and dive into the content. Yeah, and obviously it's going to vary based on what we're selling. Some industries they love it, and some industries it's not going to necessarily be more effective. I want to go back to just the last half of this interview here. I just want to learn a little bit more about you, Dan, and really kind of hit upon some of the things that makes you and your organization successful. And the first thing I want to know is, why did you even get into this space, into this world with your organization? Why did you start a business?
So the last company that I worked with was a sales executive search firm. Mm-hmm. I went to that company to see what my options were, and I wish I had gone there many years before. Matter of fact, most people when they come to us, we advise them on their career, we give them options, and they always say, wow, this is so much better than I had anticipated. And so I went to a search firm looking for opportunities. I had a bunch of offers on the table, and they said, well, hold on a second. Before you consider any of those, why don't you consider our opportunity? And by the way, it was the only company that was 100% commission. I had a draw when I got started, but I liked the culture. I liked the environment. I liked what the company's I just liked where it was going, and I liked the idea behind it. So I took the risk. Everyone thought I was crazy, including my parents. But I took the risk. I joined the company, and I ended up being a huge success. I left the company and I learned an incredible amount from my CEO, a gentleman by the name of Tony Natella. To this day, we're still great friends, good ski buddies, and he's just a great guy. I left that particular company because the model was breaking for many different reasons, but I left and I started Treeline. And the reason why I started Treeline was to build something better. I wanted to simplify the recruiting market. I wanted to, revolutionize the way the sales recruiting industry worked. And so the past 17 years, we've been doing just that. And each year we get bigger and better, and we're more creative, and we try new and different things. But for me, it wasn't a get rich quick kind of thing, or it wasn't even a get rich thing. It was just that I saw something that was broken. I wanted to fix it. I thought we could do it better. And the only way to do that was to start, my own company, Treeline, and, build it to where it is today.
Yeah. I mean, well, congratulations on that, man. And it definitely shows in what you're doing. I would like to, as sellers are out there and sellers who are looking for new jobs and so forth, why should they looking with a firm like you guys? Why should they or should they just go out and try to find it themselves and just go on some of these, job boards? Yeah,
well, I wouldn't tell them not to. I would tell them to try everything. I would definitely not tell them that we're the only way to find a new opportunity. But I would tell them they're crazy not to be speaking with us. And the reason why I say that is there's just too much noise. It's just a whole bunch of, static, right? So you can go to the job boards, you can look at jobs, but there's millions of jobs being posted every day. And so the real question is, if you're employed and you're looking to advance your career, the ultimate way to do a search is to have someone that understands the market, that knows what opportunities are out there, that can simplify the process and help you build a pipeline around, validated opportunities that could add value to your career, not just noise and fuzz and, email blasts and, all kinds of connects that you're getting online. What you really want to do is you want to talk to a professional that will listen to your story, will help figure out how to leverage your strengths so that you can develop some messaging as you go to market to make sure that you can get your foot in the door with growing companies. That's number one. Number two, you want to understand, we want to understand, what that person's looking for. What is a good next step? What do they think they want to do next, and where do they want to be? And many times people just don't know. And then lastly, we would talk about industries and companies and opportunities and websites and comp plans and average sales size and sales cycles and quotas. And, we're going to give you a whole slew of information so that you can do your due diligence and decide if an opportunity is a good fit or not. We're not wasting anyone's time. We're not, it's not like you're applying to a job, wondering what the compensation looks like, wondering what the travel looks like, wondering all the details. We're going to give you all of that while trying to make sure the opportunities that we have best fit your selling characteristics, number one. And number two, they meet all the requirements of the opportunity that you're looking for next to advance your career.
Love that, man. Dude, simple, straightforward, powerful. I'm going to put that in our show notes. I'm going to put all that things there so folks can get access to it. And I think that's a great way to look at it, man. If there's one major takeaway we'd like folks listening to this episode to walk away with today, what's that one major piece of advice?
I'd say be selective. For individuals that are looking for opportunities, be selective in finding the right fit, right? It's not necessarily about the biggest compensation plan. It's about sustainability. Find a company and culture, ask good questions so that you know that you can sustain a career with a good company. With a sustained career, you'll grow, you'll find great success, and the money will come. If you run only after the money, it is likely you could make poor decisions or choices in the companies you go to. And if you find yourself leaving every 12 months or 18 months, it's most likely because you're running after the money and not really the culture and sustainability of your career.
Sweet, man. If folks want to get connected with you, Dan, or your organization, what's the best way for them to connect with you guys?
Well, our website is www.treeline-inc.com. But if you want, just email me directly. My email address is Fantasia. It's my last name, Fantasia@treeline-inc.com.
Well, we'll go ahead and put that in our show notes again so folks can get connected with you. I really appreciate the time you took to share these insights with us and just being willing to deliver value today. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time. Keep up the good work. I love the energy, and everything's been great. I really do appreciate the show today.
Well, thank you. It's an honor. I told you Dan knows what he's talking about. He came to the table today and gave us some great insights, things that you can take and apply to your business. to become better in your performance, to help you to become more successful, to help you with your whole sales environment, and to help you with your hiring. A lot of great thoughts today. And if you would like to learn more about Dan and Treeline Inc., some of the great things that they're doing, perhaps you're looking for some new talent for your organization, or perhaps you want to find a new opportunity, I would highly recommend that you connect with these folks. You can find details and all the information about Dan by going to the show notes, thesalesevangelist.com/the-word episode number 748. Again, thesalesevangelist.com/the-word episode number 748. All in all, I share this because I really want to help you. I want your team to perform better. I want you to get the best talent on your squad. I want you to be able to just get past all of the hurdles that we've had when it comes towards hiring and recruiting. But to do so, you have to check out what Dan has to offer. They have tons of education that will help you. I just highly recommend them and recommend you check it out. Another thing that I would highly recommend that you check out is TSE Hustlers League. If you haven't done so, if you feel that you can perform better in your sales, but you just haven't been seeing that performance increase, or you're just concerned about right now the fact that you're not getting enough business opportunities, you feel your prospecting could be a lot better, well, check out TSE Hustlers League. We have a few spots left, and I would love to have you join us. All in all, I share this stuff because I want to help you. I want you to be successful in your role as a seller. I want you to be able to earn the money you deserve. I want you to be happy. I want you to be successful, but most importantly, I want to challenge you and push you to go out each and every day and do big things.